All right, I've been asked to make a couple quick videos here, and hopefully this will help people out and reduce concussions. From time to time, this topic comes up. However, it should be a conversation that every new fighter has. Concussions happen quite often, and people don't realize that they have them. You can look up online about the symptoms of a concussion. On the left, you have an SCA helmet. On the right, you have an HMB helmet. Both are excellent construction. The one on the left is made by Dave Demers from Acer Metalworks. The one on the right is from Andrei Galeski. He is out of the Ukraine. The problem that people have with helmets is two things. They're padded poorly. They're not heavy enough. What you see here is this blue foam here. This is not your shitty blue camp foam. The green stuff, just as bad. This is high-tech anti-concussion foam. It's a 1/4 inch thick, all right? And I use them in systems, okay? This particular helmet, I'm gonna pull the liner. I have it set up so that we can pull the liner out. Okay, you can see it, all right, here. What happens is you have 4 sections, all right? They all lace together. What this is this is essentially a suspension liner. It creates space between your head and the point of impact, the helmet, okay? So what that does is think about an egg. There's just a membrane in there in between the outside hard shell. You have a slight membrane, and then you have the yolk itself and everything that's the egg white that's in there. And that's designed as essentially a suspension liner. The one on the right here has a little bit different system, equally effective, operates essentially the same way. Now these line the whole helmet here, and they're just tubes, and they're stuffed full of very dense padding. That is about 1 inch to 1.25 inches thick, maybe even thicker, that padding. Here's is the general shape. This is half, okay? So this would be the front of the helmet, this would be the apex here, and then these would sew together, and then this is your cheek here, okay? This is an old one that I had made. This used to be about 1 inch thick, but over time, as you can see, it gets packed down with, you know, your sweat and your grime and your nasty essence of fighter, and that currently is just probably over a 1/2 inch thick. All right, this helmet here on the right is made to be struck by shield punches, nasty Russians swinging 7-pound halberds that want to literally take your head off. If you are not properly armed, you will definitely go home from an HMB tournament with a concussion. Really essentially the same thing with an SCA helmet. You got a 9-foot fiberglass spear jacking you in the face. Your head is not made to swivel around like a bobblehead, and your brain will slap the inside of your skull, and that'll create a concussion. So when we're using this awesome anti-concussion foam, it would essentially internally go around the band of your brow, okay? And then you would have some here in the top of your head, like so, or you could make a round disc to insert underneath the pad. You should change your historical liner probably once a year, maybe once every 2 years at the most. And the same thing, I would go ahead and replace the anti-concussion padding, even though they say that, you know, you can take repeative strikes. You know, it's basically a flex. It'll compress and it comes back. This stuff doesn't really lose its form. It doesn't break down like the camp foam. It doesn't have the air bubbles in it that are essentially, you know, the little bubble wrap that you jump up and down as a kid and sometimes as an adult. But you get the point. So you should really have at least a 12 gauge helmet, in my opinion. The one on the left weighs 13 pounds. The one on the right weighs 12.5, but it's much larger. So the gap inside the helmet from the actual edge, you know, the steel to the liner itself, I have, you know, concussion padding in there, and there's a little bit of a barrier, and then you have the actual padded historical liner itself in there to help, again, slow down that energy, because you got a lot of power and a lot of velocity coming at you, and what we need to do is we need to slow that energy down before it actually reaches your skull, and then your brain starts slapping around inside your noggin there, and you go away with a woozy feeling, and you lose brain cells and IQ points, and all kinds of bad things happen. Just from personal experience, I had a double concussion in Poland in 2012, fighting in HMB, and I still suffer from brain damage from that. I can't remember things that I knew before. Like, I can think of words, but sometimes I can't form them. That's brain damage, folks, and you only get one brain. They can't fix it. So take care of that thing and make sure that you're doing what you need to do to stay smart. Talk to you later. Hope this helps.